You're listening to the Screaming Pods Network.
Something's coming.
Stand by. Hold on to your hats. Here we go.
Welcome to the Screamcast episode 154. I am Sean DeRager, and with me is Stephanie Crawford.
Hello.
Joining us on 3 hours of sleep because he stayed up all night at the Florida Film Festival or some shit. Brad Henderson is back again.
Oh man, it's so I'm so happy.
Oh man, we're back, baby. This is what we've been missing right here.
Full force.
Well, thank you all for what were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just to give the audience an idea, the Florida Film Festival now is pretty much over, and I've been doing that for the past few days. And last night was the Midnight Shorts, and we were there until very, very late. So I am doing this episode on maybe like 4 hours of sleep, something like that. And then the night before that, we did Summer of '84 as a midnight, and I didn't get home until like 4, and then had to get up at 8. So for the past 48 hours, like 8 hours of sleep total. So
perfect. That's not going to affect the show at all. We promise. Today, we will be talking about 1985's HBO TV movie Blackout. We'll then be talking about Crossworlds from 1996, and then move into our feature presentation, Brad's favorite movie of all time, class of 1999.
It's funny. It's my favorite movie of all time, but it's taken us like 5 years to cover it.
Well, now it's on gorgeous baby blue. It's ready for us to cover. We got to get some house cleaning out of the way. Need to talk about some club scum. Quick shout out to Blair Regenwetter for winning this month's Club Scum drawing. Now, Blair is from Canada, so he had initially won the Insidious digital copy, but unfortunately, I guess these digital copies don't work, cross-country lines, even like Canada.
Correct.
So Blair is getting a kick-ass care package from Screamcast headquarters, Screamcast HQ, for those of you who want to sound cooler. So Blair, expect that very, very soon. And of course, if you're a member of Club Scum, you can be eligible for these little drawings that I do every now and then. Once a month for sure, we have a drawing for a movie, but there'll be these little fun ones every now and then. And so next up, I got to give a shout out to 3 new Club Scum members: Dawn McPherson, Vezius, and then Nathaniel Rivera. So thank you guys for becoming Club Scum members, and your membership cards are on the way, and you'll be eligible for next month's drawing. With that done, let's jump into what's on our doorstep.
Holy cow, I almost forgot.
We'll get the door.
I only have a few things. I finally caught up with my Code Red Blu-ray of Hands of Steel, a Sergio Martino film starring Daniel Green, John Saxton, George Eastman. In 1997, the Guardian of the Future is much more than a man. This movie's pretty awesome. I'd never seen it before. All I knew was kind of maybe like a Terminator knockoff, which it kind of sort of is, maybe, as far as like our lead character is concerned, who is very deadly with his hands, by the way. But this is a very fun kind of Italian film. I was expecting more of a rip-off film like the Italian movies are. Maybe it's a conglomerate of a lot of sci-fi, post-apocalyptic sci-fi at the time. ton of fun. The soundtrack kicks ass, and it looks pretty fantastic on this Code Red Blu-ray. I know that 88 Films put this out as well, if you're in the UK.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in quite some time. I think I picked up that Blu-ray too. I had it on VHS for years, but if I remember watching it on VHS, I don't know if I liked it. I don't remember liking it.
It gets batshit near the end, which makes up for a lot of stuff. But I mean, if you've seen enough of these, they're...
I always get that confused with that movie where that kid builds robots and they follow him around and kill people and shit. There's a movie like that, and I don't know if it was Italian or what, but there's wish I could remember the name of it. But yeah, I always get those two confused.
Well, this was not that. Basically, he is sent to assassinate some leader, and he botches the assassination because he has kind of a self-realizing moment where he doesn't want to go. He goes against his programming, so he's on the run from the government and meets up with this hot blonde at a truck stop who's running the truck stop / hotel, where people only spend a couple hours in the hotel rooms, if you know what I'm saying. And she may or may not think that he's hunky and hot, and she may or may not fall in love with him as well. There you go. All right, let's move along. Next, I watched a film called The Girl with All the Gifts. And this is, I was just like, well, this is just some zombie movie with a kid starring Glenn Close. For some reason, she's kind of dragging the bottom of the barrel. I wasn't expecting very much, but I absolutely loved this flick. I think it was a really great take on the zombie theme, where it is very similar, Brad, to the Maze Runner thing, where they're trying to get a cure from kids. So these kids are in this kind of classroom setting, and you kind of get to realize that they're being, taken away from the group one by one every now and then for experiments. They're trying to find a cure. Shit goes down. Zombies, of course, attack the compound, and one of the girls, our main girl, Sania Nanua is the actress's name. She's fantastic in this. She escapes along with some of the soldiers, and then things go on from there. I don't want to spoil anything about this film, and if you've kind of seen the cover, it just looks like another kind of zombie film crushed with Hannibal because of the mask that she's wearing. But I really, really dug this flick. I think it was well acted, and there were a few tense moments. I like their take on zombies in this flick, and it was very refreshing because I was expecting just kind of a generic run-of-the-mill film. Have any of you guys seen this?
Yeah, I did. A lot of people love Girls with All the Gifts, so I'm with you on that. I didn't like it, but I mean, I'm definitely in the minority on that because I know a lot of people that dig that movie.
Yeah, I think if you're sick of zombie flicks, if you're kind of, if you're sick of Walking Dead or whatever, I think this is a good a fresh dose of the zombie thing, and I feel like it was original enough, and the lead actor is just so great, and it's refreshingly R-rated. So, not that R rating means the movie's good. God damn it, that's not what I mean. Are
you one of those anti-PG-13 people?
No. It's with a zombie flick, you're gonna expect some gore, and you know what I mean. They don't shy away from that, and that's what I mean. It's all in context. But no, an R rating does not make a good film. I'm not one of those guys. Speaking of, this next flick is PG-13, and I loved the hell out of it. It is Happy Death Day. This is a Blumhouse produced film. It is basically a horror take on Groundhog's Day, and Edge of Tomorrow and Source Code. There's some other ones too. Triangle is another good kind of time loop film about a girl who wakes up and she keeps repeating the day of her murder until she basically figures out what happened. When I first heard that plot, I was like, oh, okay, whatever, Groundhog Day. It's funny, Groundhog Day even gets a reference in this flick, which was pretty funny. But I thought that it was really, really fun, really funny. Jessica Roth is fantastic. Kind of the journey she takes through this movie. The character has an arc and it's great. And it was just a really fun watch. And it was actually one of those, a film that I was like, maybe my wife would like to see this. And then she watched it and loved it too. So, and a great use of a baby mask.
Did she cry?
She did. There's one very, very touching scene in this film, and it was
it's crazy.
Very effective. Happy Death Day. I know a lot of people have seen it. I'd kind of, for some reason, been sleeping on it, but really, really dug it. A lot of fun. Check it out if you haven't. That's my doorstep.
It's fairly enjoyable. I dug it for what it was.
Oh shit! For what it was. That's my retired term that I try not to use.
That was my joke.
Screamcast classic moments. Speaking of, the Screamcast classic design mug is in the store over at screamingpods.com/shop. All right, let's go. Moving on. Who's next? Stephanie, what's on your doorstep?
Oh, hey. Okay. I've been wanting to see this movie for a long time. I finally got to it. It's Eureka from Nicholas Roeg. It stars Gene Hackman. It came out in 1983. But
I've never even heard of that movie from him before.
It's 1983, but has that kind of dark, sinewy 1970s feel. But basically, Gene Hackman... he arrives in like a decrepit gold rush town. Like there's frozen corpses everywhere. The gold rush is over, but he lucks out and finds a shitload of gold. And we fast forward, and he's ridiculously wealthy, and he has a daughter, Teresa Russell, and she's in love with Rutger Hauer.
Oh.
And they want to get married. Oh, and there's also a young Mickey Rourke and Joe Pesci in this movie. And if you're a fan of paranoia films, you want to see Eureka. Gene Hackman is wonderfully batshit paranoid about everyone trying to steal his money in this. And it's surprisingly gory. I won't give anything away, but there's decapitations. There's people just getting hacked into pieces, and you see all of it. It's a very intense movie, everything from like the gore to a crazy courtroom scene. I went in thinking it'd be a little classier than it was. It's beautifully made. It is a gorgeous, wonderfully written film, but wow, it's not fucking around.
Yeah, I guess you don't expect that with Nicholas Roeg all that much.
Mm-mm. So it's, I think, Twilight time here. And I think Masters of Cinema did it for Region 2.
So Eureka released Eureka?
Yes. That actually confused me for a long time. I was like, oh, good, Twilight time did it. I can avoid that. But that was an unexpected surprise.
I've never even heard of this movie. Joe Spinell's in it, too, which is...
cool. He's in it for about 10 seconds, playing a very Joe Spinell role, unfortunately. Yeah. I was excited about that, too, but he's barely in it.
That's cool. I've never even heard of this movie.
Yeah, so that was a fun discovery for me. And everything else is streaming that I have. I watched American Fable, which is on Netflix. American Fable.
Oh man, I love American Fable. That movie did not get enough play.
Yeah, I was just randomly looking through, and it has this beautiful poster of a girl going through a cornfield being followed by this woman in black on a horse. I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's written and directed by a woman named Anne Hamilton. It's her first full-length film. It came out in 2016. And it's a beautifully shot film. It's mostly in the daytime, but it's about a farm family. They're dealing with a lot of financial strife. And we see that in glimpses because we're mainly following this young girl. Everything is through her eyes. And I think it's pretty weighty material, but it kind of keeps it from becoming that, well, we're losing the farm, I better murder my wife kind of feeling that a lot of these movies have. I really would like people to see this if they haven't, so I don't want to give too much away, but she makes an unexpected friendship with a man trapped in a grain silo. And it's a really wonderful look, especially when you look at the title American Fable, about how financial instability and secrets can kind of affect an otherwise strong family. And it's set in the 1980s, and I really like that setting or that time period for this kind of story, because it seems people like to stick with more like the Dust Bowl era. So it's interesting to see it in a more modern setting.
Nice. So this is on Netflix. I can't find anything on Netflix these days other than like comedy specials and like a bunch of TV series. Like I have a hard time finding good films. I don't know if I've like somehow messed up the algorithm with my wife watching stuff on my account or what, but
yeah, create different accounts. Yeah, it sucks because it was it was a DVD only from IFC as well, and I was like pretty bummed about that. And it played at South by Southwest a few years ago. And Peyton Kennedy, the little girl that's in the movie, she's outstanding. She was really good in the short, in the feature that XX, that all-female directed horror anthology.
Oh, yeah. And she's on the Netflix show Everything Sucks now.
Oh, yeah, which is such a good show that got canceled. God damn it.
Yeah, she's really great. But yeah, and it was weird because I saw the movie and it's like really solid, but no one fucking saw it. No one was talking about it. The only person I think had seen talk about it online, I think, was Patrick Bromley, maybe. I know that he said something about it, and I was like, oh, cool, at least somebody's watching that movie, because I really enjoyed it. But it didn't catch on, and I just thought it was just a good family drama, with some kind of like, it almost had like some nightmarish stuff going on, which was kind of neat, but yeah.
It's not like a full out horror film. It's definitely a sleeper. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why everyone was talking about 1922 being a Stephen King property and everything, but I thought this was much better. I couldn't help kind of thinking about them both when I was watching it.
Huh.
So yeah, if you have Netflix, I would definitely check that one out. Very nice. And then moving on, I finally got around to watching The Perfect Host with David Hyde Pierce.
That's a surprisingly good movie.
Well, I wasn't surprised, but it's David Hyde Pierce. Why were you surprised?
Because it's David Hyde Pierce.
Wow. Okay, not a Frasier I guess.
Fair enough. Goodness. Is this the one where he's like holding up like the wine glass?
Yeah.
Big poster. Okay, I've been wanting to watch this, and every time I'm like, I just don't know. So how was it?
Movies are
how was it, Stephanie? We will ignore Brad. I want to hear what you think.
It was pretty great. I think just from the cover alone, you don't get a big twist. I mean, even from the title, The Perfect Host, like you have a guy, he's on the lam from a bank robbery, and he finally makes his way into David Hyde Pierce's house, and he's about to throw a dinner party. And they're, it's kind of like, oh, my friend, sure, come in, you can wait here. And they have this pretense going, and then it quickly falls apart. And we get pulled into this very intricately constructed mental insanity. And I just, the two actors, David Hyde Pierce, which I would like to get points every time I say his name now, and Clayne Crawford, who I'm not familiar with, they play off each other so well. And it's not written in a way where either one is stupid and they get the upper hand that way. They're pretty evenly matched. They come from very different backgrounds, but it's evenly matched. And it's this kinds of twist where the enjoyment of the movie, it's not predicated on the twists. Like most movie watching people, they'll probably see a lot of the beats coming, but I don't think that takes away the enjoyment because it's just so well done and it's so well performed. It has some very darkly funny moments. It has some really weird, tense, creepy moments. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Was this on Netflix?
This is
on my
Shudder.
Netflix queue. Oh, Shudder. Oh, okay.
A little bit different pacing is The Alchemist Cookbook, also from 2016. That was on Shudder. Have you guys seen it?
I have not. I've heard of it.
Big fan of that director.
Yeah, I heard about it on. Oh crap! I shouldn't bring it up if I can't remember. Is it The Core, the show on Shudder?
Yeah, I believe it. The one that with all like the little cameos of directors and stuff.
Yeah,
Mickey Keating is part of that. Yeah.
So basically, it's a 2-person cast.
Wow.
But it's mainly this one guy. It's played by Ty Hickson, who's incredible in it. So we're not really given a setup of who he is. We just see this young guy in a trailer in the middle of nowhere. And he's concocting things, but we're not really sure what he's working on. And as time goes, his friend visits him and he brings him some supplies. And we're basically told that he's completely cut himself off from society. He's not paying bills anymore. He's not living at his house anymore. He has this one connection. And then we slowly see that there's some demonic summoning coming in. It's this incredibly slow build. It's a very quiet movie. We're just following this one guy, and it's one guy, so we don't have a lot of dialogue. And even when his friend comes in, he barely wants to talk to him. Again, I'm not the most plot-driven movie fan. I'm not against them, but if something's a great character study, that's what tends to get me. And The Alchemist Cookbook is one of the best ones I've seen in recent years. Again, it's not one where I want to give it away, but I can't really offhand think of a movie that's anything like this. There is some gore. Especially towards the end, there are some horror conventions, but mostly we're just seeing like this he seems like a very sharp, intelligent young man lose it. But it's not one of those, the madness is seeping in, I'm slowly losing myself kind of things. It's surrendering yourself to a completely unusual way of life. Just, I'm sorry, I'm doing a terrible job of describing this, but
it's tough to describe. The director's movies are hard to describe. I did it on the last show. It's very difficult.
We have a review on the website from Derek from Fantasia Film Festival, and he wrote it up there.
Okay, great. Read that instead, because I sound like an idiot. So I'll just say it's incredibly unique, very well made. If you're okay with devoting the time to it, you really need to pay attention to it. This isn't a background movie. You kind of just need to let yourself seep into the isolation of this movie and let yourself buy into this journey. It's wonderful. I was very happily surprised by it. So it's The Alchemist Cookbook, and it's on Shudder right now.
You should watch Buzzard if you haven't seen it.
Is that from the same guy?
Yeah. It's
okay, definitely.
Super weird. Yeah, and I just saw
great looking film too. His
really
movies
much are super well polished, and even though there's not a lot going on, like he's, I don't know, like in Buzzard, there's like a 15-minute scene of a guy eating spaghetti, but it's the most interesting shot of the movie. And that's not a joke. Like it goes on for
no,
at
that's
least
the kind of
5 minutes,
thing I can buy into if it's well done. That shit's fascinating.
Yeah. And his new movie just played at South by. It's called Relaxer, and it's one location where a guy sits on a couch and tries to beat Billy Mitchell's Pac-Man score,
which was spoiler
timely right
real
now.
Life. Billy Mitchell's
Can
bullshit.
You do spoilers for real life.
So Derek Smith has a great write up on the website. Just type in Alchemist Cookbook into the search bar, and his article will show up there. And he also has links to some stuff regarding the other. He has a review about Buzzard on his other website as well. So some good stuff there over at thescreamcast.com.
Cool.
Cool. Brad.
Yes.
Go.
Okay. What can I talk about here? I should have been prepared and doing that.
Throw out a couple things so we can get to our
what do you like?
Our main
busy
reviews
or something? Come on, man.
Yeah. What was I watching for like the past 3 years? So, all right, I can talk about a few things. Did anybody talk about Veronica yet?
I don't think so.
So I watched Veronica. It was I'm a fan of Paco Plaza, and I always can't remember the guy's first name, but Balliergo is two directors from REC films. Well, REC 1 and 2, and then I think they did separate projects for 3 and 4. But yeah, it's together. I always compare them together because the movies are very. I don't know. It's those directors are definitely in each other's minds, and so whenever I see one, it's hard to tell which one is which. Mm-hmm. As far as directing, because I think they both have like this sense of, just style. They're in each other's heads. But this one was directed by Paco Plaza. It's weird how these movies are like popping up and getting a lot of I don't know, just advertising through viral videos, like on Facebook and everything like that. This one did. It was known as like people are getting 15 minutes into this movie and turning it off. That was like the big thing for this movie. It's just like this article, like BuzzFeed, like put out something like this is the scariest movie of all time. And honestly, it's kind of cool that happens because a lot of people are taking that bet. I can tell you right now, it is. You will not turn it off because it's too scary. But it's fine. It's a fun movie. It's got a lot of effective sequences. Maybe it's not the strongest Paco Plaza film as far as like getting in there and being scary, or I guess you could say clever. It's loosely based on a true story. But yeah, it's fine. I would actually suggest watching, his standalone REC film, or there's one movie that he did that didn't get a lot of play. That was a made-for-TV movie over in Spain. It's perfect for a Christmas rotation. It's called A Christmas Tale, and it's about these kids that find this convict like in a hole, and they mess around with her until something terrible happens, and basically she gets out and hunts down the children. But it's really, really good because I think it's Santa Claus. So she's dressed in this Santa Claus outfit, and she's got like a bag, like I think it's got some stuff in it, and she gets out and she goes after the kids. But yeah, a lot of fun. The director himself is, I think he's interesting. So there's Veronica. It's on Netflix. got around to watching the Foreigner. So Jackie Chan is like in his fucking 60s, and he is still just kicking ass. I talked about that one Kung Fu yoga movie that he did the other like last year or whatever. And it's just Jackie Chan doing his thing. But the Foreigner I was really interested in because from the trailer, Jackie Chan is not making any jokes, and he's not being that bubbly Jackie Chan. Like he's being very, very for real. And that's exactly what it is. And I don't really recall how many movies I've seen with Jackie Chan where he's being a very serious actor, as far as like not telling jokes and doing all his kung fu, like Rumble in the Bronx and Mr. Nice Guy and stuff like that. So this is directed by Martin Campbell, who is one of the best action directors out there, I would say. Very big, like in the 90s, did a horror film called Cast the Deadly Spell that's really great. Did No Escape, which we talk about every once in a while on the show.
The Owen Wilson movie, or the really good HBO the HBO sci-fi movie?
No, the HBO sci-fi movie.
The good one. Well, they're both good in their own way.
So anyways, yeah, it's just a fucking very straightforward. Jackie Chan is involved in a terrorist attack that takes someone close to him away. And he basically is old and sad. And you just took the only thing away from him that he is actually living for. And he turns out to be, of course, is Jackie Chan, so he's got some kind of military background in the movie. And he just goes full force after these people for names of the people that killed his one thing that he had going for him. And Jackie Chan's doing his fucking own stunts at like 60-some years old. And it's very entertaining. It's got a really cool plot. A lot of twists and turns in the story. So it's not a very straightforward, revenge movie. There's a lot more going on. Pierce Brosnan is really great in it. But yeah, just all around good movie, great soundtrack. Very lower key action scenes with Jackie Chan, which I liked. He still does his thing, but it's not like grand scale. Like, this is unbelievable that this 60-year-old man is doing this. But, when he needs to pull his moves out, he does, and they're really exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been wanting to check this out. It's sitting right there on my pile looking at me, so I'm going to get to this soon.
And that might be it that I've seen. I don't know if there's too much. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot that I can talk about other than that. I saw Jumanji and hated that, but I know everybody loves it, so I'll just keep my mouth shut.
You don't like fun.
Wow.
No, I do. But just that movie doesn't have it.
Oh.
Wow. I liked it. So it's fun.
Yeah.
I went with my family. We had a blast, so.
It was sad because Willow was like really excited to show it to me because she like saw it and she was like, "Hey, watch this." And we were watching it, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to, hurt her feelings.
I was curious about that. If she's really excited about something like this is crap, Willow. I'm sorry.
No, I let it slip because she had to go to the bathroom or something, and I hit pause, and I felt like we were watching the movie like for 3 hours, and there was still an hour left. And I just said, "There's an hour fucking left in this."
Oh no!
And she turns around, she goes, "What does that mean?" And I said, "I don't want to watch this for another hour." And she was just like, "Whatever, I'll be right back." And so I finished it, but man, no.
Josh Obershaw joins us now to bring us the Blu-ray news. Josh, what's up, man?
Hey, Sean. How's it going?
Going good. So it's been a little bit. So And I think there's been a lot of announcements. So what's been going on, man?
Just coming in this morning, we got some surprise title announcements from Scream Factory. They're putting out two of William Castle's classics. One is The Tingler with Vincent Price and Straight Jacket starring Joan Crawford.
Nice.
Both of these are coming out on August 21st. The extras haven't been announced yet, so we'll probably be hearing more about these two during the summertime. Oh, and speaking of Scream Factory, we're getting more Carpenter.
Yeah.
We're getting his TV movie, Someone's Watching Me. We're getting a collector's edition of In the Mouth of Madness. I am so glad I didn't buy the New Line Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think I'll buy it for like $5. This will be a no-brainer, repurchase for me.
Oh, totally. And last but certainly not least, at least in my opinion, is Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says. I really like that movie.
Yeah, it's a fun, sweet little movie. I mean, yeah, I'm a fan. It's I think it's available streaming somewhere in HD, so I'm really happy that they're going to be kind of giving it a little bit of treatment.
Yeah, totally. And it was also the first Carpenter movie that I saw big screen, by the way. What a way to start. I also noticed something else, too. Both Memoirs and In the Mouth of Madness, those are Warner Brother titles. I know In the Mouth of Madness it was produced by New Line, but it's owned by Warner Brothers. So,
I thought that was interesting too, because Warner Archive usually handles this type of stuff. But it looks like Scream Factory is at least just trying to compile all of Carpenter's stuff onto their label for some reason.
Oh, and bless them too for that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what else we got? Let's a couple of quick tidbits. Universal is putting out The Strangers Prey at Night on June 12th. And we also have a new player in the game. There's a new company called Dark Force Entertainment. They are domestic U.S. And their first title that they're prepping for Blu-ray in the coming months, it's going to be 1990's Mirror Mirror.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Those of you who are Splatcast fans, that one mega episode we did with the Splat House, we did cover the entire Mirror Mirror filmography.
Yeah, it's only the first Mirror Mirror that has been announced. I don't know about any of the sequels.
It's the best one.
So, we'll have some more updates on that as soon as they come in. Let's see. Next up, we've got Arrow June titles. We're getting another Abel Ferrara picture, 1995's The Addiction. That is going to be coming out in the U.S. on June 26th, and the UK folks are getting that the day before. Let's see. The Quiet Earth, that's going to be a UK-only title. That one comes out on June 18th. Vigil, that's a US-UK release, the 11th and 12th. Another UK only release. This is one's called Jake Speed. I've never seen this movie before, but this is one of those titles that I remember seeing the VHS back in the day. And let's see, last but not least, for the month of June from Arrow, they're releasing The Complete Sartana. It's a box set of, I believe this is a spaghetti western film series that is coming out in the U.S. on the 26th of June and in the U.K. the day before. So there is your Arrow package. And we've got some updates from our sponsor, Vinegar Syndrome. Their entire May package has been revealed. And we also have an important May pre-order info. This concerns the halfway to Black Friday sale that we've mentioned a couple of times. But first, here's the rundown of the entire May package. We mentioned Sweet Sweetback's badass song. Next up, Her Name Was Lisa. This is by a guy, Roger Watkins, who directed The Last House on Dead End Street. This is actually a porno. I've seen the trailer for this. It looks insane. And next, they're also going to be putting out Bloodsuckers from Outer Space. And their DVD-only titles are going to be Naughty Girls Need Love Too, and a double feature of The Seduction of Cindy and Terra, 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 Terra. Now, about that important May pre-order info, if you're going to be pre-ordering the May stuff and taking part in the halfway to Black Friday sale, there's going to be an option where you can hold off shipping of your May pre-orders until after the sale, so that everything you buy gets shipped at the same time. So that's a heads up for you. And again, the halfway to Black Friday sale is going to be Memorial Day weekend, May 25th through the 28th. Nearly everything in the catalog is going to be 50% off. And so, they also have a new catalog in the works too. So that's from Vinegar Syndrome. Now, what else have we got? Let's see there. Oh, yes. Here is the most exciting news for you this time around. And it comes courtesy of Lionsgate. There are 2 more entries in the Vestron video series coming this summer. The first one, Stuart Gordon's Dagon.
Yeah.
I am so happy for this release. I've been waiting for this one on Blu-ray for a long time. And this one has brand new cover art, and it looks fantastic. So just go look that up online. It is, wow. It's amazing. There's going to be a discussion with Stuart Gordon, interviewed by Mick Garris. There's new interviews. There's audio commentary. This one's going to be packed. But do you know what's also going to be packed? It's the other Vestron video release coming on that same day, which is July 24th. It's Beyond Reanimator. The trilogy is finally complete.
I'm pumped, man. I'm glad I'll have all those. Umbrella Entertainment's also doing like a trilogy package. I'm not sure if it's going to be region free or not, but yeah, Reanimator is. There's a billion releases, I think, of Reanimator. But it'll be fun to have all 3 of these on Blu-ray, and that Vestron one looks stacked.
Oh, it does. There's a whole bunch of new stuff, plus an audio commentary with director Brian Usna. The Umbrella edition was announced first, and a lot of people were just a little disappointed because Beyond Reanimator and Bride of Reanimator are going to be a double feature, and the original film is going to be its own Blu-ray. And like you said, there's no word if it's going to be region free or not. So this release right here from Vestron, that is a welcome, because I already have, the limited editions of Reanimator and Bride of Reanimator from Arrow. So I just really wanted this last piece of the puzzle, and we're finally getting it this summer. So that's all the news I have, Sean. That's awesome. It. I mean, it doesn't get any better than Dagon and Beyond Reanimator for sure.
No. Our wallets will continue to empty to the Blu-ray distributor gods. We thank them and praise them as always and forever.
Yeah, and let's not forget the Carpenter stuff too.
Yes,
it's going to be a good summer.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
No problem.
All right, everybody, let's jump into our first flick. It's time for some VHS. Oh my God.
Nikki.
Well, here we are at last. Right where we ought to be. On video. Oh my
God! Today, we are talking about a 1985 HBO TV movie called Blackout.
I think he wants to be stopped.
No! He's a good husband and a loving father.
He's a time bomb.
Is it possible that I could be this Jekyll and Hyde?
Oh my God.
You could still be wrong about Devlin.
Your Alan Devlin is my Ed Vincent. There's a real possibility your husband could be Ed Vincent.
Anybody here?
I mean, surely if something like that is happening to you, you're aware of it.
Ed Vincent killed him, just as surely as he killed his own wife and children.
Who's to say it can't happen again?
Now
There's so many movies called Blackout. It's funny.
There is.
It's like running scared.
I had a hell of a time trying to. Yeah. I had a hell of a time trying to find make sure I was watching the right one, but I did find it.
If you accidentally watch the Brian Bosworth movie, you're still cool.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the one we're doing? Oh, no.
Shit. Here we go. We can talk about that too if we want. This film
Just cover all the Blackout.
Yeah.
Blackout
Do we have time?
episode.
Do we have time? All right, we're not going to talk about anything else. Brad, sorry, we won't get to Class of 1999 today. We're going to talk about Blackout movies.
It figures.
So this movie is pretty interesting. Like when it came out in 85, it gained some notoriety following there's a guy named Ed Sherman, and he murdered his pregnant wife on the 3rd of August in 1985 in Connecticut. And it was thought that it was possibly inspired by the film, and the film itself was submitted as evidence at his trial. So like the character in the film, Sherman killed his wife and used an air conditioner to try to slow down the decomposition of her remains, and tried to establish an alibi. And then he was sentenced to 50 years in prison in 1992, but he died of a heart attack. After serving almost 4 years. And I guess you can watch this in an episode of The Forensic Files called Dinner and a Movie.
An affluent young woman was found dead in her home while her husband was off on a sailing trip. Police uncovered allegations of sex parties and wife swapping. But it was an old movie, an overheard telephone call, and an air conditioner that cracked the case.
What?
Crazy shit, right?
I did not know that.
It looked like he was going to get away with it, but I guess someone said, "Oh, I ran into Ed at a video store, and he recommended Blackout to me."
Ed really loved Blackout. He said I should rent this thing. Actually,
I wonder if he walked out.
Actually, he taped it on HBO. So it aired. He taped it and he gave me the tape and said, "You really need to watch this. This is great."
No, but I read that. That was like what ruined it for him. I wonder if he like walked out. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have recommended that one.
Wait, so
hilarious.
Did the killer say that he got the idea from the movie?
It was submitted by evidence. I don't know. I haven't done any. I want to find this episode of Forensic Files and watch it.
Hang on a second. Keep talking.
Anyway, the film.
No.
Oh, sorry, Stephanie, were you going to say something?
Well, he didn't say no. This forced me to kill it. It was just the air conditioning.
Right. He got the idea.
From what I understand, the person who knew them said they recommended it almost seems like a made up thing that he said, "Oh, I recommend this movie." And they watched it and said, "Wait a second, this seems awfully familiar to what could possibly happen to his wife." But it ended up on trial and he ended up in prison. So
yeah,
you know what? I think we should go watch the Forensic Files, come back, figure that out.
Okay. Well, this film was directed by Douglas Hickox. You may know him from, he directed Theater of Blood. He also directed Zulu Dawn and Brannigan, the John Wayne flick.
Yeah, and he's Anthony's papa, who directed Waxwork and Hellraiser 3.
Yeah.
Anthony Hickox. I saw his name. I was wondering if they were brothers, but it's actually his dad. Which is
very
cool.
nice. This was also written by David Ambrose, who wrote The Survivor, which there's a Blu-ray out on Severin. It's an okay movie. He also wrote The Final Countdown, so that's on one of my top movies of all time, The Final Countdown. And then he also wrote Daryl, Daryl. Daryl.
Oh, is it a robot then?
I think so. It's
anytime they write out a name like that, I assume it's a robot.
Yeah, it's some 80s something. It's
I remember that movie.
Yeah,
is it about a robot?
it's kind of like about a big computer system.
Close enough.
Thing, AI type thing, I guess. I don't know. We're not talking about DARYL. It's a PG family movie. I've never seen it actually, surprisingly enough. But where was I? We derailed it.
Blackout,
1985. Directed by.
Shit, man, no. He had a weird obsession with the movie.
Huh. So he must have taped it and watched it multiple times. Of course, starring Keith Carradine, Kathleen Quinlan, and Richard Widmark. Let's go around and talk about our thoughts on the flick. Stephanie, what do you think about Blackout?
Well, I don't want to say it's good that this whole murder trial was tied to it, because that's obviously horrific. But I don't think this movie would be widely remembered if not tied to that. It's a pretty standard TV movie. Well, HBO, because there's some blood. It's one of those things where it's so competently made. The only thing I can really say is it's competently made. Mm-hmm. I think like the spooky S&M murder mask, that's pretty unexpected for something that aired as a TV movie. I thought the tension built okay. It dragged a little bit. And a lot of parts, it kind of just felt like a soap opera to me.
Yeah.
Like facial reconstruction and amnesia and a lot of that. It's not bad at all. And there's some fun moments, especially towards the end. It gets a little slasher movie. But, overall, it's kind of there.
Brad?
Good cast.
Dude, so, like, he apparently...
I'm still reading up on this.
Yeah, he recommended the movie to somebody, and that was his stupid thing.
Yeah, that's what Stephanie said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the episode is on Forensic Files, mm-hmm. or it's uploaded on YouTube. It's season 8, episode 10.
I'm gonna put a link in the show notes so everyone can watch. Season 8, episode 10.
So he had this weird obsession with the movie, and then when that happened, I guess that person came forward and said, hey, he recommended this movie. And they found out he had like a copy of it. And that's what led to, because basically it was to throw off, because the decomposing of the body, it would have thrown off the time of death.
Yeah.
So, and that's what, that
he
happens.
Hopped on a boat and it was like, oh my God, my wife's dead, but I'm on a boat. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But watch this movie Blackout. It's amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, have you seen Blackout? Oh, yeah. My wife's dead. How terrible.
Yeah. Like he's like under the light, like investigating. Where were you? Oh, I was on a boat. Have you seen a movie though? Like, what's your favorite movie, Ed?
Right.
Blackout? Fucking Brian Bosworth accidentally gets, taken in because they get it confused because they're trying to do a search and they're like, God damn it, there's too many Blackout movies.
We'll never crack this one.
They're just having screenings of every Blackout movie in the fucking forensics department. Wait, which one was he referring to? So anyways, the movie is one of those things where I was just, doing VHS hunting and I saw the cover and I was like, man, I remember that when I was little. I remember that fucking mask on that VHS, but it was something that I never rented because I think it wasn't even in the horror section. I think it was like in the drama or thriller. And my mom really, it was so funny. My mother, she would let me rent movies in the horror section, but the drama thriller one was off limits because
there could be some sexy time.
Yeah, there could have been sex in those movies, and I was like, okay, cool. Because in the horror section and horror movies, apparently she did not realize that there is a lot of sex and nudity in that. But I mean, I guess it's more or less, girls taking their shirts off versus something like, fucking Sharon Stone's Sliver.
Which I may not have just got on Blu-ray.
No, Sliver's great. But it was just one of those things. And, a few years ago, I found it and I was like, oh shit, today's my day. I'm going to watch this. And I actually really enjoyed it. It's, kind of trashy. It's kind of fever dreamish. It's just really, I don't know. It's just a movie that's there, but it's, it's interesting enough. And, it's, I don't like it, it's a tough movie to recommend because it doesn't have like a shit ton going for it. It's just it's I think it's best to show people the cover art and say, hey, watch this movie. And that's how you get it. Like if you explain the plot and the people, everything that's in it, it's oh, okay, that just sounds like another murder mystery movie. But that cover sells the movie, and it was made for TV, so it's another one of those things where it's pretty tame at times, but it was the 80s, so they got away with a little bit more. But I enjoy those movies, and I guess I remember, I think this is something I watched with my mom when I got it on VHS years ago. When I say years ago, I mean 15 years ago.
That could be considered years ago.
Yeah, and then my mom turned me on to another. That's a weird way to start a sentence. My mom turned me on. My mom, because she was always she's huge into thrillers and stuff like that. Apparently, I actually have never seen this movie, and I didn't even think about it until now. It was a very popular movie called Jagged Edge. Apparently, it's a very similar movie, and that's another reason why I guess Blackout was kind of pushed under the rug.
It came because it was Jeff Bridges and Glenn Close.
Yeah. I just remember the cover with the knife.
Yeah.
So apparently that's a better movie, which I wouldn't put it past it, but I mean Blackout's a fun, if you want this weird nugget of a movie that no one has fucking seen, then Blackout's your jam.
Yeah,
and it's probably on YouTube or some shit.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate because the end, since it's a VHS transfer, it's so dark you can't even see anything. It's just the end scuffle. It's just a bunch of noise.
And this is one of those movies we talk, we're sitting and we get fucking Arrow or Vinegar Syndrome. Hey, we're releasing this movie. And you're like, oh man, that movie's so weird. I never thought it would have been released on Blu-ray. But I mean, I say that a lot too, but there's certain movies that I know may never get a Blu-ray release. And that's kind of why I wanted to do the VHS segment. It's fucking HBO owns this movie.
It's never coming out.
HBO hasn't fucking released The Hitcher yet. So I highly doubt that Blackout is on any list of a made-for-TV movie to be released that HBO will license out. And plus, there's the other movie that we talked about probably maybe a year ago on one of the VHS segments, is Homewrecker. That computer that takes over.
Yeah.
That gets jealous of the wife, or the robot. Yeah, the robot computer that gets jealous. That's owned by Paramount. Fucking Paramount's not going to be fucking releasing, Homewrecker on Blu-ray anytime soon. So it's interesting that these movies are out there that just may not have another life after past VHS because they never made it a DVD unless it's a bootleg. Which I've seen a lot of bootlegs of Blackout. like at cons and stuff.
This Blackout?
So,
Just
yeah,
making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
People definitely know about it. I was just at Spooky Empire. There's a guy, even though I don't really agree with him making money off of them, but he does DVDs of rare movies, and they're really tough to find. But it was funny. I don't know if I ever told this story on the show. So one of the very first cons we were doing, I was working with James, Vinegar Syndrome. And, we just took a walk, we just like had someone watch the table real quick. I think it was like Mike from Grindhouse or something like that. And James and I took a walk, and we walked past this guy, and he's there every year, or 2 times a year, because Spooky Empire's 2 times a year. And he had, I can't think of the fucking title he had, like Evils of the Night or something like that. And James, he had like maybe 2 or 3 titles that were Vinegar Syndrome titles. And James just goes up to him and takes them off the shelf and goes, "These are my movies, these are my movies, and these are my movies." Grabs all the copies and then just walks away.
Damn.
Like steals them. And I was just like, this is fucking hilarious.
Badass.
So, but yeah, this guy, I saw a bunch of copies of Blackout on his shelf, and I was like, holy shit. So, it's definitely being seen by a few people. It's just, I think that's the one way to keep this one alive.
Yeah.
So,
I wish it was. I wish it was a more exciting film. Except for me, it did kind of drag on. It has moments that are cool, but and it's surprising. It was somewhat tame since it was like an HBO film. I figured, there's a little bit of blood, but there's nothing too graphic in this film. You know what I mean? It felt. I was like, is this like an NBC TV movie? Because it felt,
I don't know if HBO. I think HBO maybe picked it up later.
They may have, yeah.
And they put it on there. Actually, I can see the VHS from my shelf.
I'm kind of curious if it's big among true crime aficionados.
Maybe. And that may be why. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So the
because
people
like the
that
history
originally,
wrapped up in it.
Yeah, so this is not. It may have premiered on HBO or something, but this is. I've never even heard of this label for VHS, but I have it here, and it's Fox Hills Video. Is the label that released it, and it doesn't say anything. Distributed by Fox Hills Video, a division of Heron Communications.
Maybe you have a bootleg.
No, this is legit. No, but yeah, this is. There's actually nothing mentioning about HBO, so it maybe HBO put it on. Bought the rights to it and then put it on their channel and bought the rights from Fox Hills. Probably. But I've never even heard of that VHS label before, so that's crazy. Because usually, it's something at least a heard of label, even if they're small, like Ivy or something like that. But
I'm looking at. It looks like they did a lot of football, but also some Argento.
Oh, but those movies at those times, some of their
slasher
Argento
and
stuff.
Sports. It seems literally football and slashers.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
It's funny.
So some of that stuff, those labels would just release stuff without rights because they really didn't have to worry about international stuff sometimes. So a lot of people released fucking Italian films on their label or create a label just to release.
Yeah.
One movie, which is weird. But yeah, if you get a chance to see it, it's just one of those. Because I like movies that if someone comes to me and says, "Hey, this movie isn't the greatest, but like it's never really been seen or like hasn't went past VHS," I will watch that over fucking Infinity Gauntlet War. So I would rather watch 10 movies like Blackout than sit in the theater watching Captain America die. So. Spoiler alert!
What? All right, so, we can move along. we can move along. Yeah, it's a fun curiosity, and I mean, movies like this with the history, it's always fun to have like a Blu-ray or even a DVD with supplemental material to learn about the history of this film, and this this combined with the forensic file stuff makes it for a very interesting kind of discovery, I think, and it almost, like with most things like this, kind of enhances the viewing experience a little bit. So once I found that out, it was more, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I've seen it now, so yeah, check this out. I would recommend do a little pairing, watch the Forensic Files episode, and then give this a watch, and that'll be a fun little true crime evening.
That's really weird, though. I've never even heard, that's very interesting.
Let's jump in to some screams.
Nate, wake up!
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
Don't fucking scream at me.
If you scream, I'll break your neck.
Don't scream, miss. Don't scream.
Today we are talking about 1996's Crossworlds, directed by Krishna Rao in his only feature film.
When Joe Talbot saw her, he had no way of knowing.
I just saw this really beautiful girl. She just disappeared.
His life would never be the same.
Don't be afraid.
I'm dreaming.
Come with me or you're dead.
What the hell was that?
Your life's in danger.
You just take me to police, okay?
I think this one's out of their jurisdiction. AT, I want you to meet Joe Talbot.
Where'd you get that? My father gave it to me.
From beyond the boundaries of our dimension,
Who signed off on your mission?
The Queen.
they have come
Oh my God.
to reclaim an object.
Have you hidden it? Perhaps you already have it. Is there anything that you didn't tell me about the crystal Dad left for me?
I don't have time for this.
That has unimaginable powers.
I'm having a really strange feeling. I just landed in the ocean! What the hell is going on?
We're the good guys. They're the bad guys. We have this. They want this real bad.
Give me the scepter, Joseph.
You want to play, Joseph? All right, let's play.
Dying for a lost cause seems to run in your family.
Kill us. Don't bore us to death. Let's watch the world go to hell together.
I can't do this alone.
You can do it.
One soul at a time.
Looks like I'm just gonna have to settle for the scepter and the crystal. Guess again.
Rutger Hauer, Josh Charles, and introducing Andrea Roth. Crossworlds.
Fucking Crossworlds. It was one of those, I think it might have been on, and maybe someone who is still obsessed with VHS and that's all they watch, let me know. But I think this was on the Mortal Kombat VHS with the trailer.
Okay, I was like the whole movie is like a bonus. They just threw it on the Mortal Kombat VHS. That's amazing.
So I remember Dumb and Dumber had the trailer for Mortal Kombat, and then Mortal Kombat had the trailer for Crossworld. So that's originally how I heard of the movie, and it was one of those things I don't ever remember coming to the theater. But I remember it hitting. It was straight to video.
Yeah.
See, then that does who released it, because that doesn't. Then that would probably knock my thing out of it. Oh gosh,
it's on the
Trimark.
Yeah, Trimark.
Oh, okay, so it definitely wouldn't have been New Line promoting the movie. So I'm wrong. I thought it was. So Trimark. Which, so Lionsgate owns this movie. Well, maybe we'll get a Vestron release. So yeah, I lied. That's not how I remember the movie. But
this whole section was a lie,
and it really interested me. Really interested me, and I remember the actor. He played the boyfriend, the nice boyfriend, in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Josh Charles.
Yeah.
He's also in
so
Sports
I remember
Night
seeing him, of course, Rutger Hauer and stuff like that, and then Andrea Roth was in it, which Andrea Roth is still like acting, which is really badass.
She was in The Collector in 2009.
Yeah, she's really great, but yeah, she's in it, and it was just a fun, kind of like Highlander type thing going on. But just all around, just really, really fun kind of sci-fi fighting, shit like that. I just always enjoyed the movie, and it is one of those movies I could say it's definitely nostalgia over, is it good? But I think it still holds up to the point of being a fun action movie. Like, I really necessarily wouldn't say it's for kids.
I'd say it's very PG-13. I would definitely let Danny and Jacob watch this for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was something that was maybe geared towards kids.
Well, one of the first things I thought of when I was watching this feels like a Moonbeam Pictures movie, but with adults, like the Charles Band kids movie series. Like it's Moonbeam, but with adults, just that like outdoor adventure movie, but everyone's grown up and Rutger Hauer is there for some reason.
Yeah. But that's good because I always say that, with Charles Band, he made some of these movies that are, it was weird because he was making like these fever dream sex movies, and then he has his obsession with like little things. Then he made all these like family movies. Crossworlds kind of falls into that a little bit. Yeah, that kind of 90s action adventure. This is okay to, let your kids watch movies. But I think that's part of it because that hit me around that time, which I like stuff like, Pre-Hysteria and, fucking Mac and Me and things like that around that time, which Charles Band was responsible for Pre-Hysteria.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies. So I have a little bit like people like stuff from the 80s. They really like, fucking like Karate Kid, and so I fucking hate those movies. Like even stuff like, I'm not a big fan of like stuff like Flight of the Navigator anymore. What? Like I loved it growing up, but I don't
this episode's over.
It just doesn't hit me. Like, Karate Kid, like, I was just having a conversation with my friends the other day, like, stuff like, Dark Crystal, Legend, Labyrinth, Princess Bride. Princess Bride I can forgive.
Forgive.
It's sweet. It's a sweeter movie. But, like, all those, like, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, I fucking can't stand those movies. My shit that I ended up liking when I was kind of the 90s, and it was really silly, weird shit that I really enjoyed. Like Warriors of Virtue was something that got Sean. You have to be with me on Warriors of Virtue.
I don't think I've ever seen Warriors of Virtue.
Cool.
In this new world, welcome to the other side.
You're really a newcomer?
Ruled by fear.
I want him alive! Go!
Houston, we have a problem.
He is the last hope to bring together 5 legendary warriors.
How's it going?
He is often a bit cranky, who use the forces of nature as their weapons. Wood, fire, earth, metal, and
water.
Now, the battle against the ultimate evil. The answer lies with you. Is about to begin.
Come out and play!
Touchdown.
Bye-bye. I can't leave them. They need me here.
You are invited to enter a remarkable world.
Yes!
Rock and roll!
where nature is your weapon, but you are the ultimate warrior. Warriors of Virtue.
Have you heard of Warriors of Virtue?
I am not. Is it like Power Rangers or something?
Yeah, it's running off of that. But dude, check out Warriors of Virtue. And they made a sequel to it, but it was fucking terrible. But yeah, it was just one of those things that hit me, and I don't know. I've always been kind of the kid that wasn't a fan of. I guess I started acknowledging, stuff like. Probably in my maybe about 15, 16, I started acknowledging a little bit more of, filmmaking as a whole. And I guess I enjoyed the movies that seemed that they were harder to make on nothing versus money that was just overflowing to these, big blockbuster movies. I'm still like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch, a bunch of indies, and you could say, hey, you can never watch Infinity War Gauntlet. And I'd be like, all right, that's fine with me. I don't really ever care about seeing that movie. But no, it's just how I am. And it's not, I'm not trying to like be pretentious about it. It's just that it just doesn't appeal to me. And I think growing up, those movies, something like Crawl, that I fucking still love, like Crawl really appeals to me because that movie was not probably easy to get off the ground, but something that Jim Henson's attached to, of course. And I'm not saying those movies are bad by any means. I don't think Labyrinth or Dark Crystal, Legend, Willow, anything like that is bad. I'm just not a fan of, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being an old man and pretentious about it.
I think you are.
But I don't know. I just enjoy the smaller movies. And Crossworlds was one of those movies that always like hit me. I was like, man, this movie's a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah. Well,
I like this.
It's a very simple plot. I mean, you got this college kid and his loser friends at a party. Jack Black making an early appearance. A lot of fun to see him. And, of course, in the process of this party, he sees this hot to trot blonde across the room with some knee-high boots and a skirt. And
hot to trot?
Yeah. Just standing there.
And he gets wrapped up basically into this. They're like. They shift through like dimensions, I guess. They're like soldiers of some sort. He has a crystal that they need that goes into one of those African music instruments with like the big sticks. You can like go back and forth and it makes little sounds. Like
the didgeridoo?
A didgeridoo, I guess.
I thought it was a ring stick.
I don't know, but it looked like that. And so the crystal,
all the things like the holes and little like marbles in them. When I very first heard one of those, like I was like, oh my god! And I just took it and smashed it because I wanted to see how it worked.
We used to make those in camp. We got to hammer nails into it and then fill them. Oh, that was fun.
Well, this is obviously low budget because these are the two things that are being sought out, right? Or he has this big stick and it needs this crystal, and being pursued by a bad guy. He needs the two to take over the world or the dimensions or whatever. I mean, it's very standard, basic plot. I had a hard time getting through this, but it was goofy enough for me. And the actors, Josh Charles and Andrea Roth, and then of course, like whenever Rutger Hauer shows up, it's like, did he just get done drinking like half a bottle of scotch and just wander onto the set, or what?
He is so delightfully grumpy in this. My favorite moment was like him and Josh Charles. He's just standing. He's like, "So you knew my dad? Shut up!"
Oh, yeah, apparently Josh Charles' character, like his dad, was wrapped up into this as well. So, but yeah, this was a fun watch. Unfortunately, it wasn't. You can't rent this in HD, and it's a really bad standard edition version where they tried to do like noise removal. So you'll see like. The character will move across the screen and you'll see like their ghost kind of follow along or some weird movement. But yeah, this is one that I would love to see Lionsgate, clean up and put out on their Vestron thing.
A $30 Vestron Blu-ray.
Maybe not $30. This one.
So, are you saying
Wait
this
till
is
it
the
drops to
movie, the
$15?
definitive movie that fucking ended like Howard's career?
Was it one of his last movies? I didn't check that.
Well, no, it's not one of his last movies, but I mean,
he's not good in it. Like,
if I remember correctly, like he didn't really have those movies that we know him from after that. Like everything that he did until like he hit it big again.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I guess like the big thing that hit with him was like Sin City is kind of when he came back and people were like, oh yeah, fucking Howard, let's resurrect him back. And then he was like in Batman Begins and shit.
What about the shotgun? Yeah, it definitely wasn't the prime of his career.
No, I'm like looking through like, oh my God. Oh my God, poor Rutger Hauer. Yeah, well, Hobo with a Shotgun for sure.
Right.
Brought
I'm
him
just
back.
saying
Was he in Sin City? Oh yeah, Sin City is Cardinal
Rourke. He was in Sin City, yeah. So like, I mean, he was like in that Omega Doom movie, Beyond Justice. I mean, fucking Split Second. I mean, those movies weren't like huge, like, you know, huge successes, but they were like really solid. Or Deadlock, which I don't think they call it Deadlock anymore. I think they call it Wedlock.
No idea.
Seriously?
That makes no sense to me. The name change doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you remember that movie? Like they put the things around their necks in prison, and if they go too far, they explode.
No. They stole that from Battle Royale.
No, Deadlock was like from like the 90s.
Shut up, Brad.
Dude, fucking Blind Fury. He plays that fucking blind guy.
Yes!
With the
Yeah, Blind Fury's great. Yeah.
He has like a Screamastix or something like that. I don't know what you're supposed to call him anymore. We'll just say a Screamastix. But yeah, he just fucking tears people up. Yeah, The Hitcher, Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yeah, he definitely went through a valley
Howard
after
had this like
Crossworlds.
huge fucking arc, like, you know, between like maybe like mid 80s to like, you know, late or early 90s, where he just had this awesome fucking action career. And then, you know, like you said, he did Crossworlds, and then people were like, hey, let's cast this guy from all these action movies, and they're like, ew. He did Crossworlds with Josh Charles. Fuck that guy. But I don't know, man. It was just one of those movies that hit me when I was younger, and when we were talking about this, it was on Vudu, and I watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. Like eating fucking Taco Bell like at midnight in my room watching Crossworlds.
This is a good midnight Taco Bell and cheap beer movie for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. No, it was. I had never seen it actually. I had always. It's another one of those in the 90s. I always saw it as in the video store, but I knew it was direct to video, and I knew like when it came to direct to video to tread lightly at that time in my life. And so I never rented it, and so it was fun kind of revisiting something that I've known about for all this time, but had never really watched it. So, but I mean, you know, it's fun. There's not really much more we can really dive into Crossworlds, unless you guys can think of anything.
And kind of the same thing goes for Blackout too. It's just two of those movies that, I mean, I like to talk about movies that didn't get a lot of play, and those are two of them for sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I loved how aggressively 90s it was. I didn't know Jack Black was in it, and say, oh, this party's full of Bettys, and there's ska music playing in the background. I was like, I'm here for that. And yeah, it had a little bit of a sense of humor without being an outright comedy. Like, I liked it when Josh Charles was like, I'm sick of your horses, I'm sick of your scepters, and I'm sick of your crystals. Like, it's that kind of movie. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think we're writing it off. I think we're saying it's some fun.
I'm sending you text messages.
I know. I just saw you just sent me a picture of this warriors whatever with giant bunny warriors.
Dude, they're fucking like huge rabbits.
Picture.
Yeah, Steph would watch this before you. I don't even know why I talked to you about this. Like, Steph, at least you're like, hey, you could watch this movie. It's weird. Steph will watch it, like, immediately. You want to watch...
Based on this pictures of Warriors... Based on this pictures of Warriors of Virtue, I'm in. If it's Samurai Rabbits, dear God Almighty. Okay, moving along. Anyway, any more words about Crossworlds? I would definitely say this is like $2. You can rent this on $1.99. You can rent this on Amazon, Amazon streaming or whatever. I know it's a little more expensive, but you can own it for like $5, the digital. But I would definitely be interested in seeing a cleaned up version of this. But yeah, if Lionsgate's going to charge $30 for it, I don't know. There had to be some really good supplementals for me to spend that kind of money. But it was a fun for $2. It was fun revisit.
If they did like an hour and a half grumpy interview with Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, I would pay it for a commentary. Oh my God.
Yes.
And you said you didn't think he was that great in it. I thought he was, because he was playing like a grumpy over it guy in the movie, and I bought it.
Did you? Okay.
I bought it.
Right on. Well, maybe I just read it wrong. But yeah, he's definitely, his character, I guess, is over it. Is this character living in like a junkyard? Or they end up in a junkyard. He's living somewhere not to be found.
Like he's in an airplane hangar. He doesn't want anyone to. Right.
So you're saying it was like that, like Chappelle skit when people always said, "Man, Oscar, you're a grouch," and he's like, "Of course I'm a grouch. I live in a fucking trash can." So like, Howard's like fucking Groucho.
Yeah, when we first meet him, he's in some sort of hangar, but he's by himself, grouchy by himself.
Groucho.
All right, let's move into our feature presentation. 1990s Class of 1999.
Ladies and gentlemen, the current situation in our high schools call for unusual measures. We are automation and robotic specialists. Meet the pride of Megatech.
Good morning, students.
We don't gotta do nothing, lady.
Education at its finest.
You get a note from the principal?
Students are being beaten for minor infractions.
Kill the enemy? Don't you think you went a bit too far?
Those teachers are killing people, Christy.
You just have a problem with authority figures.
They've been waging war with my students. Isn't that what all teachers do?
I'm going in there to waste some teachers.
Come on!
I'm still coming.
You're a good fighter, Cody, but you're defeated.
Guess I blew that course.
Brad, you have been talking about Class of 1999 ever since we first started the Screamcast. And you've always said this is your favorite movie. You've always wanted this to be on Blu-ray. I
own 3 copies of Class of 1999 on Blu-ray.
You buy everything on this. Stacy Keach, Malcolm McDowell, everybody. Everybody's in this. Directed by
Rose
Mark
McGowan.
Lester.
Pam Grier.
Yeah, Pam Grier, which a lot of people do not like. It was cool because I didn't notice Rose McGowan for the longest time. She just has a quick bit part in the movie. She didn't even have a line. But I think Josh Miller actually could. That's the cool thing about that. I would suggest revisiting our Final Girls episode if you enjoy Class of 1999, because Josh Miller, who wrote Final Girls, who's in
that's right.
Teen Witch, and he plays Angel in Class of 1999. He turned out being the writer of the Final Girls and Queen of the South TV show. So it was kind of cool having him on the show, because I actually got to say, hey, This is one of my favorite movies. And he on the show, he said, him and Rose McGowan are very close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the movie that they met on because she was a runaway and she was on the set and they became friends. And then she stayed at Josh Miller's house when he was little.
Oh, wow.
She stayed in the spare bedroom. His parents gave her a place to live in LA while she auditioned, and they grew up together, still really close friends. And I was like, holy shit, man, that's fucking awesome. I didn't know, But yeah, Rose McGowan, she's I think in the detention room or something like that.
Okay.
So, she's sitting down. She's got a little black beret on. She has no speaking role, but yeah, that's how Josh Miller's family, his parents, brought her in.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways, it's just, a lot of familiar faces. You'll see, of course, Josh Miller. He had a lot of movies when he was younger. That's Father Kark is his, from The Exorcist. That's his father. That's another cool little fact. John P. Ryan, which is a very familiar face, which we just covered Star Time, so he's in that. John P. Ryan's in every military movie in the fucking 90s. Of course, Pam Grier, Miss Connors, Patrick Kilpatrick, which you may not know the name, but you'll definitely know the face. Malcolm McDowell, and then of course there's some just other people that popped in there. I'd probably it's weird because I familiarize myself with the cast so much, I consider them big stars because it's fucking class of 1999. So even fucking Jason Oliver, who plays Kurt, I was like, yeah, Jason Oliver, he's in fucking class of 1999. And everybody's like, who? I was like, well, he's in 5 other movies, but no one really cares about those. He just fucking plays. It was my favorite character growing up was fucking Kurt in class of 1999. He really doesn't even do anything. He just shoots a bazooka into the fucking gate, and he takes over the block carts when Cody's gone. So, but this movie, man, I remember the very first time I saw it. Back in the day before there was fucking IMDb and all that shit. TV Guide, the TV Guide back in the day. In the very back pages, they would list movies alphabetically that were playing on paid channels like HBO, Skinamax, fucking Showtime, all that shit. And my mom and I would sit down at the kitchen table. This is a very beautiful memory I have of myself and my mom doing this. Is we would read each synopsis, because it would give a little synopsis and then it would give the time and date of the movie, and we would highlight the movies that we really wanted to see. And we came across Class of 1999, and it was killer military robots in a school, and immediately I was like, yes, why wouldn't you want to watch that movie? So it was during its HBO run, and I remember, and we would tape the stuff off HBO all the time, because that was, when it was early. So I would say this was maybe 93, 94, somewhere around there, that we would just started taping all these movies off HBO. So we had them. So just a few, maybe a few years after Class of 1999 hit, I think it was released theatrically, but nowhere it wasn't a wide release. And I remember hitting record on the VCR and then just watching this movie and thinking, I want to be at that school, fucking fighting these teachers. I thought that was the coolest fucking plot in the world. Still do. I'm I love pitching. Hey, have you seen Class of 1999? And the typical answer, even now, for years, it was always no. I hardly meet anybody that has seen this movie. And I'm all right, so it's 2 gangs that are fighting, that military robots that are teachers are trying to calm things down with this new government program they start killing the kids, so the gangs get band together to kill the teachers at the school. That people's eyes like just widen. They're like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Yeah, that's how easy. Like, that would the most easiest elevator pitch in the world is the plot of that movie." So, yeah, I remember watching it and just thinking, this is the most amazing thing. And I remember calling a couple of my friends over, and I was like, "Hey, you have to watch this movie I found." And I just started at a very young age, showing everybody I know, class of 1999. I've seen the movie so many goddamn times. I know the script by heart. I've always really enjoyed the movie, and there's multiple things about the movie that I really love, and I love camaraderie still with unlikely people. When cops and gangsters have to band together to overcome something else or another obstacle, and I love the relationship between even though it's very, very little, like it's very minimal, but it's just up with the script, the dialogue, and the director and the editor making those little moments so great. Because, I mean, when we're very first put on the spot with Hector and Cody, their first encounter is whenever Cody gets out of jail. Angel and Sonny pick him up. And Sonny it's never really established what Sonny is to him, but Sonny's probably just a friend, and then Angel is Cody's little brother. And they're driving to school, and they drive through Razorhead territory. So there's two gangs in the film. There's the Blackhearts, which is Cody's old gang, and then there's the Razorheads. And so they drive through the territory, and you're not like, this is like apocalyptic shit. Like, gangs have taken over, like the world is a complete shithole. Kids still go to school though, which is funny, but that's mainly because there's this program. They actually have this national education defense system, and they're making kids go to school, but like kids all carry guns because they're gonna get fucking killed like after school. And it's two different gangs. They're still like your straight edge people that are still going to school, but they probably have it the roughest. But anyways, so fucking Cody like drives through, and there's like this little stopping point because the fucking Razorheads have the car set up, and Hector's sitting there, and Cody pulls up, and he does that, "Hey, Cody." And that always, like, I love that shit so much. So if I know anybody Cody in my life, I always say that shit to them. They have no idea what I'm doing though. And there's just that one little exchange. He's like, you're out of jail or whatever. And Cody says, yeah. He's like, you should have been there. You would have liked it. And it's just like that little dig. Like, he's not saying anything homosexual to Hector, but he says, you would have liked it. And fucking, that's like the beginning of the interaction. And I just love that scene when they're in the school together. Cody calls Hector out, and they blow up, Kurt blows off the gates, and they go in there. And, right before that, he says, they killed Angel, they killed Sonny, they killed Noser, all that stuff. And Hector says to Cody, he's like, you killed Noser. He's like, I didn't kill anybody. Like, these teachers are making us kill each other. And then he says to Cody, if they're not in there, the war's back on. And then they're I love that scene, man, when they're in the fucking school, and everybody drives away, like they fucking go to the library, and it's just fucking Hector and Cody. And Hector turns to Cody and says, back in junior high, man, you kicked ass. And Cody turns to Hector and says, yeah, I thought you were pretty bad yourself. And it's like right then, that little moment is so heavy, because it's like they're obviously like kind of respect each other, and now they're like friends.
Yeah, they can finally admit it.
Yeah, and like he's like, let's go show Miss Connors, and then they go hunt down Pam Grier's character. But it's just like little lines in the movie. I think the script, I'm not going to say the script is amazing or anything, but there's just those little tidbits, little lines that make the movie really heavy. And there's like even the drama, like with Cody's mom, they have this drug called Edge that they do, which looks cool, by the way. The little like little capsules, like what, like I don't even know what that is. Like, how do you like inject that, or I guess they inhale it through their nose. But yeah, there's that little drug sequence where Angel has the Edge and he throws some to Sonny. And the mom's like coming out screaming that she needs it. And, Cody like slams the beer bottle against the wall and he says, "You're all fucking pathetic." I don't know. Maybe it just hits me more because I'm such a fan of the movie, but I really do think like there's a lot of small little moments in the movie that are really, really powerful. And make those such charismatic characters. Like everybody in the movie, even the teachers. The only person that you like truly do hate is fucking Stacy Keach's character, just because he's just awful. He's just an awful person. But that's what you're supposed to do. But I fucking love the teachers, man. Like the one-liners, like the comedy that's between them. I mean, God, like it's just so great. Like everything about the movie it's just so much fun. I think this is the ultimate like movie that's just a blast, like through and through. Like there's never a dull moment in the movie whatsoever.
It's funny because like this idea of bringing in these teachers is like such a bad idea from the start. Even the people who are kind of running the whole thing kind of maybe admit like, this might not be good, but they still kind of go along with it. Or they feel kind of threatened by going along with it. With who's that character with the white hair and the gray eyes?
Dr. Forrest.
Dr. Forrest.
Dr. Forrest. He's Stacy Keach's character.
Yeah. But he's so unrecognizable. I feel like in that character, like that
dude, he's super creepy looking, man. With his
that design of that character
and shit like that.
is fantastic because he's great. He's very iconic. Like that character for sure for me is very iconic in this flick.
Yeah, and then with the movie, another thing is that people maybe, I think the only time that this movie got any notoriety is that when it was said that after years and years after Class of 1984 became kind of this cult classic, it's like, oh, Class of 1999 is, this sequel that Lester made to Class of 1984. Because, you have it's kind of cool in this story arc with the movie is that you have this movie where gangs are taking over in Class of 1984. So you have the teachers fight back.
Right.
And now, the gangs have completely taken over, and the teachers are fighting back, but it's fucking military robots. Like that's a big step, but it's really cool that years later, they made this sequel. And then they made a sequel to 99, Class of 1999 2, The Substitute, which I don't really highly recommend at all.
It's directed by Spiro Razatos. Hey, but Nick Cassavetes is in it. Steph, what did you think about
Wait, is that the stunt guy?
Nick Cassavetes?
No, Spiro.
Oh, Spiro? Nick Cassavetes is a son of
John.
No.
John
I know Nick Cassavetes, but I'm saying
Spiro Razatos. I don't know who he is. I just saw his name. That's the director. He's worked on Fast and Furious 6 and Bad Boys 2.
He's one of the biggest. I had no idea he directed that, but that's one of the biggest.
He's a stunt coordinator.
Yeah, he's like one of the highly paid. Yeah, dude, he fucking did Maniac Cop, man.
That's amazing. So he directed Class of 1999 too.
I had no idea. Substitute. That movie still sucks, but yeah, Spiro's like one of the biggest like stunt, highly like dude. He's like when you watch Fast and the Furious movies, Vin Diesel's name doesn't pop at the end. It's fucking stunt coordinator, fucking Spiro, man.
Yeah,
like he's He's like a big deal in Hollywood. But anyways, yeah, I had no idea he directed that. Never paid attention.
Stephanie, what are your thoughts on Class of 1999? When did you first see this and all that?
I hate following Brad's beautiful memory of it.
I know, right?
That's really cool.
Like for me, I rented it on Netflix. And I watched it.
No, it's new to me. It's one I had heard of for a long time, but I never really got around to Class of 1984 or Class of 1999. And I'm kicking myself because they were both wonderful. And like Brad said, it's now probably one of my favorite sequel transitions, to where the first one is really like, no, it's the children who are wrong. And this one's like, nah, the kids have to step up, man, because the adults yet again took it way too fucking far. There's that line, I love it. It's like, it's some kind of fucked up George Jetson nightmare, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
line.
it's like one of the worst lines in the movie. Is some George Jetson fucked up nightmare that Cody says, and it's like, oh no, man, the lines are so good in this movie. Why'd you say that? Or it's like the definitive moment where they realize that the like what's going on is what's her is her name Dawn in the Dawn. I don't ever think they say her name. But it's the one woman that's with, always with Kurt. It's after like the first encounter with Hector, and they call him out to the school, and it's like, don't they spend enough time at school as it is? And then Cody like has the revelation, that's it. It's the teachers.
Why would they be at school? Yeah,
and it's like, why would Hector go to school if he didn't have to? And it's like, wait a second. Can we figure out another way that we know the teachers are killing people? Because this is ridiculous. But anyways, go ahead.
No, it's like you said, though. It's not like this. It's definitely, it's a movie about robot killer teachers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very well written within the world it does build. You're right. Like those little moments, the character motivations always make sense. And you can enjoy it on a surface level. It's really fun as explosions, all that fun stuff. But yeah, you buy into the characters. They build this cool little world that was slightly established in Class of 1984. But this takes it so many levels beyond that. And there are like the brother relationship I really loved in it. And I love how they could go to really selling a tragic moment and then them opening up a refrigerator and there's only WD-40 in the refrigerator.
Oh God!
Like, what's going on here? And it somehow hits all those different beats, but it always works. I
forgot about because they open up the fridge and they have like all those like silver canisters, and then they open up the cupboard and it's just a wall of WD-40, and Cody's like, I guess you got to stay up on top of those pesky squeaks. And it's like, are really cyborgs like spraying like their fucking kneecaps with fucking WD-40?
I guess
they're not even really supposed to use that as a fucking lubricant, but like that's like it's one of those things that like the movie has so many cool and clever moments, like you said, Steph, like the motivations, the dialogue, the action. But every once in a while, like there's this like 80s like B movie shit that happens in it, like Cody's like fucking scope on his Uzi. Like, why would you have a scope like on an Uzi, bro? Like, what are you doing?
Real precise.
But
to me, this feels very much like an 80s movie. I still can't think of it as being because it came out in 1990, so it obviously was being filmed and everything probably in 88 or 89.
An 80s movie, and it has some like 90s tropes. It fucking has 9 Inch Nails in the fucking soundtrack. How badass is that?
But no, Cody, Bradley Gregg, he's Corey Feldman meets Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I've never even thought about that. Yeah. Which he's great in a lot of movies that he's in. I followed his career after this because I just loved him so much. But I mean, fucking Fire in the Sky, he's really great. Like he's just, he's a lot of fun in the one of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. He's the one that does the down, like the strings, like the marionette thing or whatever.
I still look away during that.
Yeah. So, it is just a lot of fun. But yeah, I agree with you, Sean, on that. Like, it is a perfect blend of kind of like 80s movies hitting the 90s. Like, there's not too many movies that have both, but there's just so many like weird, like 80s, like cheap B movie tropes. And this movie was theatrical, and it had, I mean, this movie's fairly large. Like, there's a lot of shit going on. It looks really good.
The effects really impressed me, especially the climax. It kind of felt like the climax of Terminator 2 meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit to me.
The effects were done by Eric Allard, and I believe his brother Tony Allard, and they have a company that they've done like Stuart Little, but they've done like Short Circuit, Alien Resurrection. They've done a lot of huge movies. Yeah. And Virus, they were involved with that.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, because that's Virus is very class 9. I always thought that. I didn't know that they were they worked on that, but yeah.
Strange Days, Waterworld, all that stuff.
It's $1 million budget movie. Like, they had money to make this, and they used the money wisely. But yeah, there's a lot of like cool like special effects. I mean, they have a chase on a major highway. Even though they like hit the car, it's very much like Terminator 2 is when, Edward Furlong, John's dirt bike is hit by the semi, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happens in fucking Class in 1999. It's like James Cameron saw it and was like, yes, a bike wouldn't go anywhere if you slammed into it with a car, but I'm going to do it with a semi. But yeah, it's like Cody Culp would have went fucking flying if they fucking hit him. Like they sideswipe him, and it's like, no, that's not how that works. But yeah, there's just so many fucking fun moments, and I mean, even the like the corny stuff, it still works because it just hits that.
It doesn't take you out of it.
Yeah, it
just gives a little personality. And I love that between Class of 1984 and Class of 1999, they did a British McDowell exchange program. You had Roddy in the first one and Malcolm in this one. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I appreciated that.
I'll believe it's on purpose. Yeah. And I love the 80s punks for me. Like, they can't hold a candle to any of these gangsters going on today. But like, there's something about the fashion and everything about these 80s punks that I wish happened more today in movies, especially. But the whole aesthetic of them, Class of 1984, and then Class of 1999,
like Class of Nukem High that going. Kind of thing.
Yeah. The dangly earrings and mohawks and like their fashion sense. You know what I mean? Like, we're gangsters, we're punk rock. But we're going to make sure we look really cool as we're shooting these Uzis and rocket launchers.
Fucking Kurt has that rocket launcher like a motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
And the one thing that I do love about the movie that isn't really focused on a lot with people is that going back to the 80s, every time Cody kills a teacher, he has a one-liner. Because he blows up Miss Connors and he says, I blew that course. Mr. Harden, because he's the history teacher, he says, your history, Mr. Harden, which is the best line ever, because you have to pay attention to the curriculum that Harden teaches to get that one. And then have a nice stretch coach when he kills Bryles. I'm just like, oh man, it's so fucking good. But the real clever one is the history teacher, your history, Mr. Hart.
Yeah.
No, I was like, oh my fucking God. And it's so good. And talk about the worst weapon. Like, who decided, like, hey, we'll give, Bryles a fucking missile launcher in his arm. Miss Connors is going to have a fucking flamethrower. Hey, what does this one have? Oh, we'll just have him have a drill. A very short drill.
I thought about that too. I was like, man, that's like he has to be close range. He has to come right up to somebody and drill their head or whatever member he has to grip on.
Yeah, he has like that claw. And fucking Kurt, man, of all people, man, Kurt's gotta fucking die by that shit. But it's a really that's one of the scenes that was cut a lot from, is that when that, because I mean we do see the drill penetrate his forehead and his skull. But yeah, it's such an emotional thing, man. Fucking Kurt's like, god damn, like he has like the great thing, he's like gripping onto the arm and he's like, you son of a bitch, god damn you. And it's like, that's fucking heavy, man. I don't want to see Kurt die.
Yeah, it's a pretty actually, surprisingly for me rewatching, I was like, that's a pretty powerful moment in this movie.
Yeah, it's a really it's
earned,
you have those lines when people are dying or something, but like his is like, like really, like I get emotional with it because I fucking love the movie, and I like love these characters that have just on screen time, like fucking Flavio when he's just part of the Razorheads just walking around Hector all the time, but like he fucking dies just out of nowhere. He has a really cool death though, with the fucking Bryle's shooting him with a fucking rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just everything about the movie hits me on a level, and I know that a lot of people probably won't feel that. It's just one of those. I don't know why it's so special. I mean, I discovered a lot of movies with my mom, but I don't know. There's something about it that I really wanted that to happen. Maybe in a different life, but I really wanted like teacher robots to take over and then have to band together with friends to fucking,
I think we all
save the school.
There's a satisfying guilt-free thing to blowing up robot teachers because you're not killing humans.
Yeah. It's very smart.
Well, it's the same thing as like Dawn of the Dead. It's like, man, I wish zombies took over so I could just hang out at a mall and like steal shit and fucking kill myself. So it's just like living vicariously through them. But
that's true. It is a good teenage fantasy fulfillment movie.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was with Class of 1999. And there's always that satisfaction for everybody. It's in it. People take it the wrong way sometimes, but it's liking something that no one else knows. Or discovering something yourself, even. You discovered a movie and then you mention it to people and no one knows what you're talking about. And that's fulfilling so you can show somebody something.
Yeah.
And this was one of those movies that I would consider, because I mean, there's a lot of movies that I fucking know about that I could introduce, but are they as great as Class of 1999? No. But everybody I've shown this movie fucking loves it. And that's the thing about finding something so good that's unheard of. I'm talking about years here. I'm not talking about recently, because everybody knows the movie now. For any of
for a while it was. Yeah, for a while it wasn't, because it was just on the DVD, and the DVD was pretty good. But I mean, that's where I discovered it.
Oh man, it took years for that DVD. Man, it came out the same time as Slaughter High did on DVD, and that was a big day for me. Yeah. I think they both came out very, very close together.
Yeah. We need to.
And I loved it.
We need to start wrapping up here. So,
it's the best day of my life, and you cut it.
I know. Sorry, I know.
Cold.
So no, but what I wanted to ask you, Brad. I mean, now that it's out on Blu-ray,
interview me.
Now that it's out on Blu-ray compared to everything else you've owned, were you happy with this release? Because it was, they're pricey.
It's the best it's ever looked. The only thing I disagree with, that I thought they didn't do, this isn't a stick at like Red Shirt or something, because I'm sure there's budgetary constraints to what you can do, but the interviews on the disc are really bad because they're not like everybody, Brent Fraser plays Flavio, the girl that plays Jill Gatsby, who plays Dawn, Justin Oliver, who plays Kurt, Bradley Gregg, all those people, other than the guy who plays Hector, because he died unfortunately of like complication of AIDS after the movie. But everybody like fucking Pam Grier, Patrick Kilpatrick, I guess John P. Ryan is passed. But I mean, there's a lot of people in the film that are smaller that are open to doing interviews. Because I've actually, since I'm this weirdo, I've actually friended a lot of these people on Facebook and talked to them about the movie. Like even fucking Jill Gatsby, that plays Dawn. I mean, I've messaged her about the movie too. But one thing that is super cool about it is Mark Lester is very appreciative of people that love this movie, because apparently this is one of his favorites that he's done. Nice. And this isn't a no-name director too. I mean, at the time, fucking Mark Lester was kind of a big deal. Man. I mean, fucking Commando and shit, and Big Trouble, Showdown in Little Tokyo. I always say Big Trouble in Little China before I say Showdown in Little Tokyo. But anyways, I mean, as far as the picture is concerned, yes, it's the best that's ever looked. The best before that was a Japanese DVD, which was uncut, was actually the best transfer. And then Germany released it, and they did an upscale of the DVD, which looked all right. So yeah, I've owned I think maybe 10 different formats and versions of it, and this is definitely the best. So it's well worth the money as far as if you had to rebuy something from Lionsgate, because I know that they're pricey, and you have certain movies that are just like Wishmaster or something like that. It's just not a very good transfer. Are you going to spend? I mean, I know you get the collection with that, but I mean, there's a couple other ones other than maybe Chopping Mall. Yeah, Lionsgate's doing the new transfers, but some of the other stuff like fucking Chud, just buy it on Vudu or something. Yeah, I'm excited
this one. Their new run, Dagon, should be pretty well worth the money if they play the cards right, and then the Beyond Reanimator, those are things I'm looking for that I would like. Oh, I'd buy that, but yeah, they're some of these, you had to wait till the price goes down before you would even think about buying it. But sometimes you can find these for $15 maybe. I know that Chud 2.
Yeah, eventually it'll come down. But eventually. I mean, yes, spending the extra money on a Lionsgate Blu-ray, I don't really suggest. But with this one in particular, not because it's one of my favorite movies of all time, but the transfer is the best. So if you're going to watch it for the first time, definitely pick that up, because the DVD they did is not very good. It's the same transfer on that 9-pack that they released versus the single disc. It's just a really shoddy transfer. So it's nice to see a new scan of it.
Very cool.
But just wish there was a little bit more special features with it, with some of the no names.
Yeah.
Just because those people are very proud of the movie, and that was a big deal for them. Some of these people, this is the biggest movie they've ever done. Being on set with fucking, Keach and McDowell. Malcolm McDowell alone being in the movie, but being in a movie with Malcolm McDowell, even though they didn't really act with him, it is very contained what Malcolm McDowell's acting was, because he doesn't really have a big role in the movie, as far as with other people, I should say, because he just mainly interacts with Stacy Keach and the teachers.
Right. I saw his name and I was like, oh, he's in this? I couldn't even remember him being in it when I popped this in the other day. So very awesome. Well, you can grab this Blu-ray through Grindhouse Video. Go to grindhousevideo.com and grab that there. We need to wrap up. So is there any last words on Class of 1999?
Oh, I could go another 3 hours, but
Stephanie,
dude, how about the ending song though by Midger?
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Oh my god, when they're coming from the fucking fire of the school, and Cody and
badass.
And that introduced me to Tracy Lynn too. This is the movie that did that, where I recognized her, and she was always I was like, man, fucking Cody, fucking hooking up with Tracy Lynn now. But yeah.
Right on.
But yeah,
All
it's just a fun movie. So I highly suggest it for everybody.
I don't have final words on that one, but I have a quick one for Blackout that I feel bad about not mentioning.
Okay.
Michael Beck is in it.
Oh,
Swan
shit,
from
yes.
Warriors and Xanadu, and I have a creepy crush on him. He is in Blackout, so it is worth saying if you're a Michael Beck completist.
He's awesome. He looks like the definitive, like what you would think of as a man.
Yeah, and he still looks amazing.
Yeah, and and that's the thing is even something as like Swan, like from the Warriors or something. He has just his jaw structure and his hair. You get very jealous from that guy. But yeah, Michael Beck is great in it. Yeah, he doesn't get enough props because he was in quite a few like cool movies, and they just kind of like disappeared, So, but anyways,
all right. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Screamcast. I want to thank all of you for listening. Of course, head over to thescreamcast.com and you'll find us. More episodes there. You'll find our sponsors. Just click on the sponsors link, and of course, Coffee Shop of Horrors. If you like coffee, grab some coffee from them and use our code Screamcast. You get 10% off of your order. Make sure you always check with grindhousevideo.com for all of his new stuff. Follow him on Facebook too, because when he has stuff coming in, he'll let you know about it. You can get things pre-ordered early, and you can most of the time get your releases 2 weeks before they hit other stores. So please check them out. Music, of course, by Wolfman of Mars, and our look is done by Kevin Spencer. Also, if you would like to support the show, become a member of Club Scum, patreon.com/scream_cast, or just click on Club Scum on the website.
Club Scum.
Like, subscribe, all that bullshit on iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher and yada, yada, yada. We want to thank all of you guys for listening and rating and all that stuff.
Who uses Google Play?
Some people do.
Android?
People with Android phones, I guess, need
My
it
bad.
on Google Play.
My bad.
Beloved listeners use it, okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't alienate.
I love Android. I didn't know what Google Play was. I apologize.
It's all good. And last but not least, if you would like to support the show, we have merchandise, got mugs and stickers and magnets and all the good stuff. Click on the store link on thescreamcast.com, or you can go to screamingpods.com, click on shop, and there'll be stuff there, some fun stuff if you want to help support the show that way. And of course, while you're there, check out all the other fantastic shows over on the Screaming Pods network, such as the SOV Pod, the SOV POD, Splathouse, Just the Discs by Brian Sauer, You Can't Sit With Us, new show, Psychotronic Coast to Coast. They dive into some pretty fun and wacky flicks there, and all the other shows on there. And my sci-fi podcast, Zetopod from the year 5000.
Well, there's some really great plugs.
All right. Well, that's will do it for the Screamcast. We'll talk to all of you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.